All right, y'all. So I want to apologize about that slight delay. We're going to try to get it right now. But welcome to season two. Welcome to the Dream is a Journey podcast. Your host here, Brandon, season two, episode two. And today, what I wanted to talk about is finish what you started. That's going to be the motto for today of what we're going to speak about and, the theme of today's episode. And it's something that really touched me. I feel like I've been led to kind of speak on it and stuff like that because we talk about everything in the podcast. We talk about the journey. We talk about the real of the journey, not just like, oh, you can work hard and achieve all your dreams, but we talk about all the steps and the process and all the hardships that comes along with the journey. That's why we speak about the dream is the journey. And saying that, finish what you started. So remember why you started. You had this dream. A lot of people have had big dreams since they were little. And sometimes, you don't wind up chasing those specific dreams either. People tell you it's too big of a dream, it's not for you, and you decide to go into a different field, right? And sometimes when you go into a different field, you find out what your true passion is, which is okay. I'm not always saying, not everybody necessarily is going to be, a professional athlete. You might think you want to be a professional athlete, and then you might decide that, you got a calling for something different. I'm not saying, that, but I do want to tell you, if you do feel led that you want to be, a doctor, a professional athlete, or you have some big, humongous dream, you need to go for it. Remember why you started, finish what you started. So that means you got to see yourself through this. That means you can't give up. You got to try to push through. And like I talked about in the last episode, sometimes, and I spoke about this a little bit throughout the week on some of my videos and my reels and stuff like that, is sometimes you just need to be still. When you get to that point where you've been working hard. You've been working extremely hard, going after everything you've been chasing, and you just feel like you ain't got nothing else to give, right? It seems like nothing is working for you. Everything is kind of like trying to work against you and stuff like that. Sometimes the Heavenly Father just wants you to be still in those moments and let Him work. So you got to just let Him work. And it's very hard. I recently just went through a situation similar like that. So I don't just like, and like I said in the last episode, I don't speak to y'all from things about like I'm trying to be some philosopher or something like that. No, I'm telling my story. Like when y'all hear a lot of the stuff that I speak about, I'm telling y'all from firsthand experience, stuff that I could be dealing. I could have dealt with something that day, and I feel like the Heavenly Father might lead me to like speak about it. A situation I'm dealing with as well too. So like I'm not out of the gutter. You know what I'm saying? I'm still in the struggle. I'm still, trying to get myself going in life and stuff like that too. So it's like I don't speak as somebody who like has accomplished all this and so no, I don't. I won't tell you that. And even when I feel like I do get to a point where I've accomplished a lot, it's still more room for growth. Always more room for growth. So finish what you started. You owe it to yourself to see yourself through this. These are your goals. These are your dreams. These are your aspirations. You've been working hard for it, man. And and it gets, so difficult at times. Like, it gets, and sometimes it even like, not, it affects your will to like want to live at some point, and sometimes, right? Because you feel like, man, I've been giving this everything I got, man. Like, what else do I gotta do? you know like it's not working, but this is the only thing I can think about, right? This your dreams. You've been since you were maybe younger or even years, whatever the case may be, you've been putting a lot of years and excellence into the work. You keep getting overshadowed, you keep getting overlooked, you feel undervalued, man. I didn't feel all that a lot of my life. So I speak to you from that experience, so I know what you're going through. And that's exactly why you got to finish what you started, because you owe it to that little kid in you who's had those dreams since they were younger, right? You owe it to that child to see it through, because you owe it to yourself, right? Because it's a little saying I like to say that I heard when I was younger. The heavenly, your dream that you have, right? Your skill, your dream, whatever, is a Heavenly Father's gift to you. Your gift back to the Heavenly Father is what you decide to do with that dream, do with that skill set, do with that gift that He gave you, And like sometimes you might have a dream, right? That's a gift. The dream itself that you had since you were younger, or whenever you develop that passion, that's a gift. And you know what? Being given a dream doesn't always come with the best skill set in that dream, right? You might have and I use basketball for example, right? You have some people who are just naturally so good at the sport. Then you have some guys like me that had a big passion for it, but that were good, but needed a lot of work. Needed a lot of work, needed a lot of fundamental work, didn't have a trainer. I'm not making an excuse. I'm just saying didn't have a trainer, didn't play on the best teams, didn't have somebody to sit down like break down the fundamentals for me, right? So I learned that kind of on my own along the way. And, not necessarily on my own. Of course, there was guidance. My mom loved basketball. She gave me a lot of insights. But on my skill set, like I had some natural abilities, but I'm only like 186, 187 centimeters. So I'm like 6'2", right? So I'm not the tallest guy. I'm kind of tall, but not super tall, right? So I didn't have the best abilities where everything was just so natural, right? But that doesn't mean that that's not a gift. Just because somebody has a better skill set naturally in the dream that you have, that's still your dream, and you still gotta fight for that, because it's never about how you start. It's never about where you are in the middle. When you talk about uh, work in general, you're working a shift and you start the shift off good, but you end the shift bad, right? That day can still be looked upon as a not successful day because you didn't finish it strong, right? But if you finish all the way through and you have a strong finish, people always remember how you finish, right? Even if you're in halfway through and everything's going bad, you might have some people ridiculing you, right? But the legacy is dependent upon how you finish. The legacy is not dependent on how the first quarter goes, the second quarter goes, how the first part of your career goes, how the second. Your legacy is dependent on everything that goes throughout into the finish line, right? So you owe it to yourself to finish what you started. First, you owe it to the Heavenly Father because He gave you the dream. So you got to work for it, and you got to work extremely hard for it, right? It's not going to come easy. And the thing about it is, we don't even recognize, like, when we're going through all those hardships, when we're going through, I'm talking about myself too. When we're going through all those tough moments, I'm just making sure my mic is on. When we're going through all those tough moments and all those hard moments, guys, we don't understand how well it's building us. We don't even understand how good we're becoming, how how tough we're becoming. I always say, like, like, I don't believe in necessarily uh trying to be a I don't want to use this terminology. Forgive my language. I don't believe in like trying to be a hard ass. Excuse me. I don't mean to say it, but that's the best way I could put it. Or trying to walk in a room and be the toughest guy in the room. I'm not talking about that. Uh, but what I am talking about is those life experiences that build you. You don't even know, man. They building you so well. And when you get in those high pressure moments, when you start getting somewhere where you want to get to in life, like everything is like reaction, everything slows down for you in a sense. Like they say, if you, like in the sports sense, they say if you make your practices very hard, when you get to the game, it slows down. Meaning, when I say that, that means like everything gets easy for you. Everything's just slow down. You know what to do. If I'm just using a basketball move, I can, whatever. I'm doing some basketball move. But everything slows down for you. So when you get in those high pressure moments in life, you can be able to think through the situation based off the experience that you have had. And it makes it smoother for you. Because what might seem like the world is ending to somebody else, to you, you're like, I'm prepared for this. I've been through this before. Like, I know what this is. I know what this is like. You know what I'm saying? I got this. I can grind through this. You know, and you can pass that on to the next generation as well too. And hopefully, we're in a place to where we chase our dreams, do very well, and we can teach our. I don't personally have any kids. I do want to have a wife and kids one day. Um, but I'm saying, hopefully in the future, I can be able to teach my kids, my offspring, those lessons, and but hopefully they don't have to go through. I can, do better so they don't have to go through some of the things that I went through or my mother went through and stuff like that. You always try to make the next generation better, but still give them those lessons and give them that understanding. But you can't get to any of that if you don't finish what you started. Because if you decide to walk away from your dream, man, you walked away from everything in your life you've been fighting for. So you can't walk away from it. You have to. Sometimes, like I said, it's gonna be some times where life gets so rough, you're gonna have to just be still, bro. You might have to just relax, literally. You life ever been kicking your butt so bad, like to where you dang near sleep for a couple of days? Seriously, like, have any of y'all ever been through that? To where literally you just like, man, I can't, it's so much. I feel overwhelmed. But those are the moments where you have to let the Heavenly Father just work. Let Him work everything out for you. Let Him get everything going. You might need to take a little mental break and then get back to the grind. It's okay with taking small breaks within the grind, but it's not okay with quitting. It's not okay with completely walking away from what you're trying to do and the things that are destined for you. Because, and I said this, throughout this week as well too. There is no honor for someone who never fails. But there is honor for the person who has fallen 15, 20 times and has gotten up 16 or 21 times. Let me say that again. There is no honor for the person who never fails. But there is great honor and legacy for the person who falls 20 times and gets back up 21. Believe that. You gonna fall, you gonna fall, you gonna learn a lesson, learn a lesson, learn a lesson, learn a lesson, learn a lesson. It's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. You're gonna be frustrated, you're gonna be frustrated, you're gonna be so frustrated about you feel like it just won't stop. You like it's gonna be like it'll be like situations. Say, I'm gonna give you a financial situation. Like you might be going through something with your job, right? You might have lost your job. Your job might not be giving you hours. You might have been doing well, and then all of a sudden your hours start getting cut, or something happens where you lose your job and you're in the middle of something, and then you got all this bills, rent, and stuff that's uh that's literally smushing you, and you're worried about everything, and then bam, your light company says, "Hey, if you don't pay in 3 days, we're cutting your lights off." Those are things that literally make you just want to flip out. Like for real. Those are situations that make you just want to flip out. But it's okay to be angry. I mean, every human nature is to be angry about situations that happen. So there's not wrong doing and being angry or frustrated, but it's how you use that anger and frustration. It's what you do while you're angry and frustrated that causes you to do something that you shouldn't have done, or causes you to be in a position even worse than you should be, right? So don't allow yourself to let your anger and frustration control you. I always say this is don't make decisions right when, like, if something like just boom bad happens, or if something like emotional happens, don't make decisions when you're in an emotional state. You don't want to make decisions based off your emotions. That's when you make the absolute worst decisions. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been there. We all been there. Don't make a decision based off an emotion that you're feeling in the moment. That is the worst decision. You have to give yourself time to think it through. Even if you're like, something happened, right? And you're like, oh, it's a heck no. Whatever the case may be, you might just be like, heck no, I'm not dealing with that anymore. I don't know what's, it could be any situation, friendship, relationship, whatever. And you're like, heck no. That's okay. That's a heck no. But how you respond and what you say, give yourself time to respond and what to say to that situation. Because you never know. You might think about the situation, you might be like, well, I didn't look at it how they feel. I didn't look at it how they feel. I only saw my own point of view. So if you say something in an emotional state and you fly off the wall, now you disrespected somebody. You made a situation even worse when maybe all you needed to do was take a second to think about it and say and consider the options. Be like, man, I didn't think about their side or how they feel in the situation, right? And then you can come back and you can have a real conversation with that person about what's the next step or what's going on. So don't make an emotional decision, right? That's a part of allowing yourself to finish, because sometimes we mess the dream up ourselves if we make a decision in an emotional state or bad decision. A bad decision can ruin your dream. Can it can, because I've said this before. Sometimes you get your second chance in a different way. Sometimes your second chance won't be in that same situation, believe it or not. Let me use a relationship for an example, right? Say if you disrespect your partner or you do something in a relationship that's disrespectful to your partner, and your partner's like, no, no, I can't deal with that. And honestly, so just depending on how bad the situation is, they're probably completely right. So that's a bad decision where you don't get a second chance with that person. But I do believe you get a second chance and you'll learn from it and you'll get a second chance with somebody else in a difference in a later on. Hopefully you've learned from that. You won't do that again. So I say that's what I say, that's when I say, that's what I mean when I say second chances come in different scenarios. Sometimes even as like a player, say you're an athlete and you make a decision and you get in trouble bad with the law. A lot of professional teams or a lot of coaches, even college and stuff like that, once you get in trouble, they won't take a chance on you. They don't want to take a chance on you, so they're gonna pass on you because you had this situation and you're gonna basically get blackmailed out of. You won't, as they would say, but you would get blacklisted to where you can't. They're not gonna let you. It's an unofficial ban, but it's a ban where they're not gonna allow you to play. Nobody's gonna take you on. Nobody's gonna take on that trouble. Nobody's gonna want to take on that responsibility in that situation. And then also, it's a bad look sometimes. A lot of times for those organizations to take on that situation. So your second chance may be as a coach to where you can coach and help somebody else out and be a great coach, but you won't be able to chase that dream as a player. You have to chase that dream in another sense. That's where that's where decisions can alter your dreams. So you don't want to make those decisions. You don't want to make those emotional decisions. You don't want to make those bad decisions. You want to think everything through. If something seems like it could be a bad decision, I'm going to tell y'all more than likely it is. If you have to think and say, is this a bad decision? It might be a bad decision. You really need to pray and think on it. Now, sometimes it may not be a bad decision. It could be a scenario where you're trying to think if you're going to give another opportunity to another situation, right? Sometimes it might be okay, but I'm just simply saying don't make those emotional decisions because they can affect how you finish as well too. So you got to finish what you started. Remember, you got to keep going. We can't let up. We can't allow ourselves. Yes, we can be sad. You can cry. You can be hurt. You can be in pain. You can be mad. You can be upset. But you got to pray. You got to stay with it. You got to stick through it and try to do your best. Like that's what you gotta do. You control your effort, you control your work, you control what you do. So when it gets to the point, you got to control what you can control. You got to control what you can control. You have to. And what you can control is your effort, your work, your and your craftsmanship and your mindset. You can control all that. You got to control it. You got to put yourself in the right mindset and you got to do the work. So those things are determined upon you. And some things you have to let the Heavenly Father work out for you, right? And everything, really, everything. But in that saying and in that sense, we can't expect to get our dream. We're not controlling what we can control. We got to do that. We can control how we finish. We can control our attitudes, our daily action, daily work. Man, all that we got to put in the effort. We got big dreams. Anybody watching this? Thank you. By the way, thank you everybody who's been tuned in, who's watching so far. I really appreciate that. But anybody who's watching this, I know you got big dreams. I know you got big dreams. And you got to stick with those dreams. You got to stick with those dreams. You got to stick by your heart. You got to stick with your soul, with your spirit. You had a dream since you were younger. If you had a dream since you were younger, who you think gave you that dream? You think that dream was given to you for no reason? That dream was given to you for a reason. There's a reason why that's why you think about that certain dream so much. So why give up on it? Why go make somebody else's dream come true by working for them? I mean, now, if your dream is to be a doctor, a lawyer, or something like that, then you work for a company. But eventually start your own firm, start your own office. I have dreams of doing stuff like that. So, and I always set the goals and standard even higher. When you reach, all right, I just got my PhD. I'm a doctor. Okay, what's next? Start your own. If you're a doctor, like as far as a medical doctor, start your own clinic. If you're a lawyer, okay, start your own. We start our own firm. We want to get this many people that work for our firm. We want to land these type of clients. Like set the bar higher, set your goals higher. Allow your purpose to continue to grow. Don't allow your purpose to stop. I say this every episode. The day you stop allowing yourself the ability to grow and learn, and you think you've learned too much, or you think you know everything, or you think you know, and you're not allowing yourself to grow or learn, is the day you stop living, whether you're breathing or not. I say that every episode. I say that probably, and I mean that, and I repeat it because it's important for all of us. We want to live longer, but we need to allow our purpose to allow us to live longer too. You keep your purpose going, you keep going. You keep going. And you just keep going. And I think that's why I just think it's so very important. I will be so happy to see where everybody that's watching this, myself, I'll be so happy to look like down the road, look back like in 2010, 15 years, 5 years, 2 years, 2, 5, 10, 15, 20, how many every years. I'd be happy to look in 2 years and see everybody's growth, see my growth, 5 years, then 10 years, then 15, to see how everybody's growing from this. Everybody in this group is something special that we have, that we all are building, right? This is why I wear this shirt, man. By the way, visit my website, bfitlifestylebrand.com. We're going to get it back going today. We're getting everything back going with the merch and stuff. We're officially back selling our merch. So you can go to my website tonight. You'll be able to go to my website and get you one of these shirts. Support. The dream is the journey. Get your shirt. Not expensive, very comfortable. We ship pretty much anywhere. We ship anywhere. You can just go on the website and buy the shirt later tonight. But this is why we started. This is why I felt like the Heavenly Father told me to start this. Is so everybody could have a place where they could feel good and they could feel comfortable to be able to share their dreams, share their visions, share their aspirations, share their goals. Speak about, to me, if you know me, like some of the people that are watching, I have some people that I stay in contact with a lot through Instagram, through TikTok. Like we message all the time about dreams. We talk about basketball, life, anything. It's not, I don't just like talk about basketball. I love basketball. But you can talk to me about life. You can talk to me about your dreams. I'll send you messages back. It's like that's what type of circle and family that we're building here is something for everybody can like dig in together, because if we all come together, we're better together as one, right? In harmony. And we need to be in harmony. When I say we need to be in harmony, we need to be on the same page. You can't have a rotten apple or somebody, that's not bought in. But everybody that's bought in, if we pitch in and we go in together to help each other out, man, we'll all grow even faster and better together than we're trying to do it alone or separate. So this is a good space for everybody just to be able to feel good and feel comfortable about their dreams, bro. Like I'm gonna tell you straight up, it's gonna be hard. Like for all of us, it's gonna be a lot of hardships. Most of the people that I connect with have like are similar come from maybe similar backgrounds to me. I had a very supportive mother. Uh, she was a single mother for most of my life, and she fought very hard for me. Did the best she could. It has been an amazing mother, and I'm so grateful to have my mother. But we didn't grow up with the most money. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes that we were did okay. But we were lower class entire life, lower class. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of you may come from backgrounds like that, and some of you may not. Some of you may come from middle class to wealthier backgrounds, whatever the case is. Like, but you're still gonna have hardships. There's still gonna be hard times. Like, say for instance, if you are a kid who has parents that does well, that are wealthy, you still got to make a legacy for yourself. Like, you're not gonna be able to live off your parents for your entire life. Like, you're gonna have to develop your own, and you're gonna have to go through some hardships and some tough times. That's for everyone. But some of you may come from backgrounds like me. Some of you may come from backgrounds a little bit different. But all of us have one thing I know for sure in common: we're trying to make our dreams happen, and we're struggling to make our dreams happen. And that is okay. We are struggling to make our dreams happen, but that is okay, y'all. It's okay because they are happening. You know why they're happening? Because we may be sad, we may be upset, we may be fighting to make it happen. We might be fighting mad sometimes that things aren't going our way, but dang it, we're not giving up. If you're watching this, you're not giving up. That's not an option. We have to continue to go. We have to continue to push ourselves as much as we can. Take your rest. When you need a break, bro, take a break. I train, I work out a lot. I work a lot, all kinds of stuff to try to make this thing happen. But when I hit that space where I have to take 1 to 2 days and just relax, I have to take that time. You're going to have to take that time. My advice would be go hard for 6 days a week. On that seventh day, rest, relax, pray, meditate. Don't stay away from the work because you don't want to burn out. Burnout is very much so real. And also, y'all, when it comes down to it, your life is more important than killing yourself over this. All right. Don't kill yourself over this. You seen some of the most successful people, they died in their 40s and 50s. We don't want that. We want longevity. We got to build longevity. We're in it for the long haul. So if it takes us a little bit, if you're watching this, it's taking you a little bit longer. I'm just gonna take because it's taking me. I'm 31 years old, bro, and I'm still working hard to try to chase my dreams and get after them. And we're gonna do it. We're gonna do. We already doing it because we're not giving up. We're being active and working extremely hard at our dreams. Take your breaks, take your rest, but finish what you started. That is the motto. Take that into this entire week, y'all. The entire week is Friday right now, but till next Friday when we do another episode, remember, I got to finish what I started, right? If I need to take a break, I take a break, but I got to finish. If I'm running a race, right? Uh, man, I really wish I knew who it was, but I saw one time somebody had prepared so hard for a race, It was like a big time race, and they were literally in tears because they tore their hamstring or something during the race. They their their father came out there and helped them finish the race. It's about finishing the race. We got to finish. All right, y'all. Blessings to y'all. I'm gonna come up there. I'm gonna check in and see if there's any comments. I'm gonna respond to y'all. I appreciate y'all for being tuned in to the message today, to the episode. Thank y'all so very much. Please continue to support, subscribe, like, comment. In about an hour and a half, you'll be able to go to my website again and start getting your merch. About by 2 hours, we'll have it up again. BeFitLifestyleBrand.com. Go check it out, y'all. Appreciate y'all being tuned in. Let me go up here and see what's going on. All righty. Thank y'all. Whoever was tuned in, blessings to y'all. Till next time, the dream is a journey. Don't forget.